Hey, it's Becky. Welcome to my workshop. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my compact New York City studio, which I use for my work as a full-time content creator. I'll show you how my small space pulls off some big tasks, share with you some of my favorite storage and organization tips, and answer your frequently asked questions about my workshop. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. We'll start with my tool chest. It holds way more than shelves or a pegboard while making everything easy to reach for me, a short person, and provides an additional work surface. I keep my 3D printer on top of it and use the other space next to it for whatever I'm currently working on. For a space with floors that aren't necessarily level, it was important to me to get a tool chest with drawers that lock and casters that lock, so nothing goes sliding around. The color is a bonus for me. It matches the rest of my space and it makes it so I can draw on it with dry erase markers. I really like that everything can have a place in these drawers and also be out of sight when not in use. Over here, I've got some cabinets holding my component drawers and other things. In case you haven't already noticed, I really like my label maker. It makes things easier to find and then easy to put back where they go. This is the closet. It's got some built-in shelving, which I use for storing supplies and tools, for instance, my 3D printer filament. I know I've shown you a dry box for storing filament a few years ago, but this is how I'm storing it these days, in bags with silica gel packets. Sometimes vacuum sealed, since I've got a sealer in the kitchen. But you can also just use zip top bags and pull the air out with a straw. I do store some clothes in here, but it's my video wardrobe and things I wear while working on messy stuff. Everything else is in labeled containers, so I can easily find the supplies I need for a particular craft. Here's where I keep my shipping supplies for sending out products from my store, as well as different types of batteries and chargers. All kinds of long stuff ends up in this corner of the closet, as well as some big flat things I use for filming. My fabric stash is stuffed into one of these hanging organizers. It's very big. I have room for it. Look, I can transport myself to another dimension. Smokey, you want to see me fold up the green screen?
This video is sponsored by DigiKey, where you can find all the tools and supplies you need for your own dream workshop. Check out the link in the description for my top picks.
Aha! First try! This is my electronics/jewelry bench. It's sold as a jewelry bench, and I absolutely love the tray that pulls out to catch small bits of things that fall, and the high work surface so that my eyes can be close to the work. I painted the top black and added this bench vise. Above the bench, I keep a magnetic tool holder, wire spool holder, my resistor color code cross stitch, and my flex shaft rotary tool. It's operated with a foot pedal from below. Also under the desk, I've got a mini dust extractor with a HEPA filter, which I use to vacuum the floor and occasionally hook up directly to a tool. I've got some storage for clamps and rulers on the other side of the workbench. And this is my old iMac, which I use for watching TV while I'm working. I try to take advantage of as much vertical wall space as possible, since the workshop itself is only about 200 square feet. And over here is my main desk, where I use the computer, record voiceovers, and also film overhead of my work table. I use an ergonomic mechanical keyboard and a gaming mouse on a tray that slides under my desktop in case I spill. And this is my overhead camera and lighting rig made from 2 C stands with boom arms. And I can swing the light into 3 positions without moving the stand, whether I'm filming the table or the workbench over there or joining a video chat. I can turn it over here. I love plants, and I try to keep as many of them as I can without taking up too much space. So I have a bunch in the windows, and my higher humidity ones are in this IKEA greenhouse cabinet. This is a little hangout nook with a comfy chair that is honestly usually used as a dog bed. Out this window, I have a small outdoor roof space I used for messy or smelly things like sanding or spray paint. I've also got a little grill out there. And now I'll answer some of the questions I get asked most frequently about my workshop. What are you doing to keep the sawdust from accumulating in your apartment? Well, I have a small dust collection system, and I try to keep the door closed while I'm creating any sawdust, and then just clean it up before I do other projects. How do you manage noise? Everybody asks me this one. Did you work something out with your neighbors? You have really good sound isolation or something. And it's true that I live above a ground floor shop, so I don't have to worry about annoying my downstairs neighbors, which can be a problem for things like leather working or woodworking where you're making a lot of downward banging noises. But generally, I just keep my power tool usage to, normal hours. I do it outside on the little patio if I can, and I try not to fire up the power tools when I think other people might be sleeping. But everybody gets along. My neighbors have power tools too, and they use them out on their patio, and you just you follow the golden rule. How do you get sheets of plywood into your apartment? Delivery of lumber must be a big challenge for an NYC apartment dweller. I wasn't even home the last time that the plywood was delivered, and it was a nightmare, right? And you have to bribe the guy to carry it up the one flight of stairs. There are certain taxes about living in the city, even though the website says that the person who shows up with the plywood should be also helping you carry it inside the house, when they get here, maybe they don't want to. It's always good to have an extra friend around. Do you have to design the use of space for each project since they're often so different and have different needs? Yes, but I try to, have my workshop support that in a modular fashion. So my workbench here has wheels on it. My tool bench has wheels on it. I can move my light around anywhere in the space, and it's true that I can't be working on a sawdust project and a sewing project at the same time. I have to, there's sometimes the overlap has to be with compatible materials. How do you deal with waste? What do you decide to keep, recycle, or throw away, and how do you decide? Well, waste is just garbage day. If you're asking about New York City garbage collection, we have garbage collection twice a week and recycling collection once a week. And recycling collection night is also bulky waste items pickup night. And then we have e-waste or hazardous waste collection events. So recently drove the van to get rid of some e-waste and some chemicals and stuff like that. So we have citywide collection events. To the point about what do I keep or recycle or throw away and how do I decide, the rule for me is if I can think of 2 or 3 projects I might make with it, it gets to stay. But if I can't think of one thing I might make out of it, it might be on the chopping block and I might try to give it to somebody else. How do you deal with the light changes from those windows? Well, my lights are color temp adjustable. That's really it. And they have blinds, so I can't make it completely dark, but I can adjust the artificial lighting I have inside to match the color temp that's coming in through the windows, and then I just white balance my camera. What's the main thing you don't like about the space currently, and what are you planning to do to work on it, if possible? I don't know, I kind of love my space. So I don't think, if it were to be bigger, I guess I would lay it out a little bit differently. So maybe I'm missing a big flat work table in the middle, which would be good for laying out big fabric projects and stuff like that. So if I had the space, if the room were just a few feet wider in this direction, I might have a big layout table in the middle. But this little table, it just has to do for now, I guess. Which tools do you not have to have because you can access them locally through co-ops, fabricators, or workplaces? This is a fair question for somebody living in a city. I am affiliated with 2 different institutions. NYC Resistor, my hackerspace, has a laser cutter and a ShopBot, and the SVA VFL, where I teach, has those things and more. So it's large format printing. So it's true that I don't need to have space for CNC because I have multiple opportunities to use a laser cutter and a big CNC machine outside of my house. What tools will never fit in your shop that you wish you could get? I actually kind of don't want to be my own laser cutter operator. I like that the laser cutters I have access to are managed by people who know more about laser cutters than me. But you know what I do wish that I could get is a full-size bandsaw. I know I wouldn't even have the space to cut the things that a full-size bandsaw cuts, but I would love to have a full-size bandsaw, and I'll never have the space for it in this room. So I'll have to make do with my tiny saws. Last one, how do you find the tough-built sawhorses? I've been considering them for a while as they fold up for easy storage in limited spaces. Oh, those are great. They do exactly what you want. They're really small when they're put away, and they're really sturdy when they're deployed. So yeah, I don't have anything to compare them to, but I think they're really nice. I'll answer the rest of your questions in the comments. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. I hope you'll subscribe with the bell to be notified of my future uploads, subscribe to my email newsletter, and find me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This video was made with generous donations from viewers like you through Patreon and YouTube memberships.